I'll try and be very quick to make up some time, and also I'd rather stop and have you wanting more than do more and have you wanting me to stop. I read that a Princeton professor just the other day posted his resume, but instead of posting his real resume, he posted all the things he'd done wrong and all the opportunities he missed, because he thought that would actually encourage people. Now, this is my curriculum vitae, which should mean this is my course of life. That's the translation. But as we know, that doesn't really represent me. And I hope maybe in telling my story that it will help you tell yours. This would be a better prompt for my curriculum vitae and my resume. Now, this was a girl who was 5, maybe 6, and she didn't know who she was. She didn't know what country she was born in. She didn't know her nationality. She didn't know if she had brothers or sisters. And she was hidden in occupied France. And the reason why she's important to me is because she became many, many things, one of which is my mum. You stand sideways and people think, but it really brought home to me what it's like when you don't know, what's it like when you don't know who you are? How important is your history to know what your future's going to be and how you're going to be and who you want to be? So in 2007, in Vancouver, unable to work because my work permit hadn't come through yet, I literally went around asking people questions. And the questions I asked people, you've got different slides to me, but the questions I asked people were really, I found 100 people who had lost their parents before they were 16. And I asked them, I'd rather you experience the talk than write notes if you want to, but it's more, what does this impact on you? And I asked these 100 people who'd been children when one or both of their parents had died, what do you wish you knew from or about the dead parent? And actually, can I ask you, technical wizard, if you can possibly switch my slides to the ones I just gave you? Thank you. And what was interesting is not a single person said, I know enough about my parent, that there's nothing I want to know. Everybody said, I wish there was something. This was the other one. Thank you. And top of the list were the children, years later, wanting to say, look, Mum, look, Dad, this is what I made of myself. And to feel that their parent was proud of them. And, thank you. And the next most important thing people wanted to hear was, I love you. Because many people, especially if they were very young when their parent died, thank you. What they wanted to hear was, they wanted to hear it from that parent. Not necessarily from that squirrel, but from that parent. Because at the funeral, people might say, you know, oh, your mum loved you so much. But they might feel bad that they don't remember Mum's voice. Or they might say, yeah, I've heard that. I just wish I heard them saying, Suki, I love you. So if nothing else today, if you can go home and record an I love you to the people most important to you, that would be terrific. And then beyond that, there were loads of other questions that people said, a huge range of questions. Some people said, I just want to know how they feel about my sexuality. Or, well, I don't know how they felt about the illness. Some people who were children said, did I actually make my parent die? They told me they were tired and then they died. Or they said, oh, come on, just let me sleep, or you'll be the end of me, or something, and then they died. So with really little children, it was important to sort of reassure them that death was not their fault. Some people wanted things like recipes. They couldn't have the person there, but they wanted to pass on some of their traditions. One person said, I remember them whispering a prayer in my ear or something at night time, and it was lovely, but I don't know what it was. With some of the people, they wanted to copy what the parent had done. Maybe they, went to Old Trafford or Ansel Road or whatever place, and they wanted to take their children or their grandchildren to that sports centre and support that team. Because often when somebody dies, the good news is, I think Jimi Hendrix said that when you die, you're made for life. But often people will say the really lovely things. But when you're left behind and somebody's died, you want to know the person's 3D. Yeah, you want to know, you need to know them as a real person, because it's really, really hard to live up to otherwise. They wanted to know about how did you handle anger? How did you handle difficulty? How did you choose your career? And there were also things like romance, where sometimes the person who was left behind was so bereaved that the child or the young person or the person left behind couldn't say, what was your dating like? And although my research was about children, it has huge repercussions, please, for each and every one of us, to our next of kin, to the people who love us. And also knowing that they had your blessing to love again. Lots of people held on to the fact that they thought it would be dishonourable if they would diminish the love. And I think it's really important to say, our love will never change. I want you to love again. That's part of living a full life. And sure, make mistakes. David, my son, is sitting at the back, and he'll know that we asked his grandma, my mum, what was the worst thing you ever did? And she said, oh, I broke somebody's arm once. And I'm like, oh, was it by accident? She's like, oh no, I did it on purpose. And they kind of felt liberated by it. Oh, she's an awful girl. You know, I went bling, 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 and I made her fall out of a tree. And you know, it actually, I think, helps. Milo's there too. Hello, Milo. There was also questions around grief. What is appropriate grief to you? I had one person who I cite quite a lot who I couldn't use for the research because I was so worried about how she would cope. But she was praying 24 years later for an hour a day, every single day, because she didn't want to under-pray. In contrast, when my dad was dying, I said, what do you want? And he said, 2 years after that, you're doing it for yourself. It helped. Funny things, quirks, triggers. It could be how someone moves their eyebrow. It could be how someone just addresses the video. One lady who did this at the cancer agency, she said, it's not when my dad answers those questions so beautifully. It's when right at the end he goes, would you turn that bloody thing off? That, she said, is my dad. And that is actually quite important. It makes us trust our memories. It makes us feel, oh, now I remember, and it all comes flooding back. So really, there's almost nothing you can say that's going to be awful. Apart from maybe somebody rang me and said, can I tell my child they're adopted on your machine? And I said, no, you cannot. There's some things you need to do. There's some discussions you need to have in your life, please. So what is the naughtiest thing you've ever done? What epiphanies have you had? And I don't ask just because I'm nosy. Well, I do ask just because I'm nosy. But people ask this question because they were looking at their family and they were saying, why did Dad suddenly move, you know, from, I can't say it, Port to Vancouver? Why did he, you know, change from being married to Mum to running off with whoever? What happened? Why did he stop that job and do that? Because if the person's not there, it's really hard to be a detective and make sense of it. Pass on what matters and what really doesn't. And at the end of all that, well, I was going to just write an article, but so many people said, I want to hear my mum or dad. I want to see my mum and dad. So with the help of some very fantastic people, we made an app. And a few years later, that was on a computer, and a few years later, last year, we made an iPhone app. So each and every one of you, if you want to, can go to a computer, download for free the app. It will give you prompted questions, okay? And you can do it on your phone if you want to. You can add or edit the questions, and you can give it away. I would say if you're doing it on your phone, make sure your privacy is setting how you want it, otherwise all your friends will say, oh, you know that private thing you should pay? No, make it, set it how you want to, but you then can download it either onto a memory stick or onto a disk if you have that, or email it. Some people choose to have it while they're healthy and circulate it and have more discussion. Some people leave it with their will. Please put a Sharpie on a disk on your memory stick, this is important. If you're feeling really, really rough, make sure that you've given a document saying, I want this to go to whoever you want it to go to. And you can also make different versions for different members of your family. You could do something for a spouse, something for a child. And you know what's really weird? I did this for children, and the children left behind. But for the last couple of years, we've been doing it with quite a lot of people, some of whom don't have any next of kin at all. And what they said is, actually, it helped them think about their life. And that was quite interesting to me. So the Record Me Now app, it looks kind of like that, where you can go on. At the top, it'll give you the question. There'll be a little button saying why the research says this is important. And then when you're ready, you literally can press start. Okay? So I tried to write a simple version, that's why thank you for changing this. So I am the least technological person in the world. So if I can do it, I promise you, you can do it. There'll be a legal agreement which basically says I'm not responsible for anything that goes wrong in life ever. Sorry. To that. And then the app will ask for your name, and I would recommend that you write, from Dad for Susie, or whoever you're addressing it to, and you could then do multiple ones. It automatically saves. Don't put pressure on yourself that today is the day you're going to do your legacy. I've made it divided into sections. So if you want to talk about romance, you can do. Want to talk about your career, you can do. Want to talk about death, you can do. Want to get rid of any questions, do it. Okay? And whenever you stop, it'll save whatever you've got. And if you want to be a cookery hero, you can actually start making the cake, pause it, come back and be Nigella Lawson. And it's, here's the cake already. Or in my case, here's the cake. And save it the way you want to. And it's really free and it's really private, and you are very, very welcome to contact me or the organisation if you want any support. Really use this as a springboard, please. I don't even mind what you use, whether you use a video or whatever you use. This is my system, what I'd recommend. Now let me think of the ways the reasons why you're not going to do it. Do you want to say any reasons why you might not do it? Okay, one. People think that if they do it, they'll then die, okay? No, it's true. I've actually been monitoring this, and so far we don't have any different correlation between people. Anyway, I haven't really been monitoring it, non-clinical at all. But anyway, please do it. It's the same as having insurance, it's just an emotional insurance. The other reason you might not do it is you might say nobody's interested, in which case I really challenge you. Ask your family, ask your friends, what would you like to know? I want to leave some things. What are the stories? My mum might say some stories, and I've heard them so many times, but I wanted to record some of them. And then it makes it so much easier for you. Instead of it saying tell a joke, they could actually type in, there's a plus and a minus button, they could actually write in, tell us that joke about when, Dad fell down the hill and the donkey chased after him. So make it personal for you, because that will be easier. And I was saying that I don't feel any strong sense of what you should use. Do what's right for you. If you really, really don't want to do it, you can get a piece of your clothing and you can actually stitch some of your old clothing and make teddies for grandkids or whoever matters to you. And that'll be nice because you could even do it with them, and it will smell of you, which is really important. Olfactory memory is so important. One lady said that she wears her mum's scarf, but she wished she knew her mum's perfume, because then she could wear it anywhere and nobody would ask. And she could wear it swimming, and she could wear it to her wedding and no one would ask anything. And when I was telling somebody about this, they said, forget perfume, it's floor cleaner. I want to know what my mum's, their house would smell like, yeah? The smell memory is so important. And it might be that some of this will bring up a lot of issues for you. And thank you. With some people, it's made them feel, okay, I want to go and talk to this person. Or I want to say thank you. Or I want to connect. Or I really do not want to connect. And that's all fine. Some people want to write a letter just for closure at the end. But it's really about, I guess it makes sense why the person with no next of kin wanted to do it. It's about what this life means to you. And what feels unfinished and what will make you feel complete. I just like that picture. You're very, very welcome to contact me. Thank you very, very much. And if there are any issues that it brings up, you're very welcome, contact me about them. I'll talk through them with you and do them in bite-sized bits. Record Me Now is a not-for-profit society. My husband and I like to call it a Just for Lost society. And the other reason you might not do it is you might say I look awful. But to the people that you love, they will love you regardless. And to the people who say, I'm going to do it later, please do me a favour and just start now. You'll find it's not as scary once you get going. Do it with a friend, do it with a glass of wine, do it with a joint if you're suggesting it. But, you know, do it in a way that it feels good for you. And I promise you, people will be interested. Thank you very, very much.